Aloha! Welcome! Today is a story time with Cruz. Before I begin this story, I want to begin with this note that you cannot go anywhere on the internet without seeing somebody in regards to professional wrestling mentioning or throwing out or trying to stamp that pro wrestling is planned out and fake, choreographed, predetermined. You cannot go anywhere looking up pro wrestling without finding that. So, that not being said, it brings me great pleasure to let you know that today this tale is only going to be enhanced by that bit of information. So, as I grab my bourbon, I begin this tale. Our tale takes place just outside of Oklahoma. It starts myself and three friends of mine. We ended up at a wrestling show outside of Oklahoma, in which myself and two others were still very new. The third of us, my good friend, Jeff, he had only ever had in his lifetime one match, and it was for 5 minutes. So he was still very, very green and new to everything, the business, the industry, the art, the craft, all of it. So as we approach the show, we go to the venue. They let us know that tonight, myself, my friend Jeff, and another comer that I met along the way, whose name was also Jeff. The three of us were going to be in a main event. So we'd be last match of the night, and we would be in the main event. I was excited. My friend Jeff was highly nervous by nature. So the others who rode with us had their matches. A few of them, they had a couple of bumps, bruises, things of that matter. We get close to the main event slot, and my friend Jeff comes up to me, and he is solid white. He is so nervous, he looks like a ghost. And as he approaches, he's having lots of doubts, he's having lots of questions. How should he present himself? How should he carry himself? How should he take this or that? And I tell him, just calm down. Continue, Jeff, just calm down. We get to the main event. We are planning out what is to come during the match and as well as after the match. After the match, there was supposed to be a final bullet point. The other three men, the opponents we had, were supposed to win the match, but after, they needed to get their hands on this other gentleman who was also named Jeff. They were going to have Jeff standing in the ring. Two of them were going to hold him. One of them was going to attempt to smash him over the head with the belt. At that same moment, I was supposed to be outside of the ring, tending to my good friend Jeff. And so that is the premise in which we developed the match. So we get to the match. I start the opener. I go and I tangle up with one guy, then the other guy. We go some back and forth things. Well, before I can even make a tag, they throw me in the corner. And I'm there, and I'm in their corner. Well, one gentleman goes, and he grabs me around the arm. So I have my left arm. I'm in the corner. One man is squeezing this arm. So I go to throw a punch. And I go to throw a punch. The other gentleman who's in the corner also with him hooks this arm and squeezes it. So I have two arms hooked in the ropes. Both men truly, no lie, squeezing as hard as they can is what I felt like. They're squeezing me in the ropes. I'm getting circulation cut off in my arms, so my hands are turning white. Well, the third gentleman who was in the ring with me at the time, he goes to me and he starts hammering me with shots. Well, as going with the flow, I allow the shots and I'm saying, okay, lighten up. Now I'm going to fight out. They did not let me fight out. And so he's giving me punches. Well, then he goes and he wants to give me chops. We had all discussed prior to the match that if you throw a chop, you take a chop. So I was not too liking of these chops. So I never threw chops. Well, my arms are hooked by my back. The gentleman goes and he starts to take the tape off his hand. And he's looking at the crowd and they're blowing on his hands, signaling he wants to throw a chop. Then he starts acting like he's licking his hands. He's going to throw a chop. So I'm there saying, okay, he's going to chop me. I'm going to have to chop him back. Well, he goes and he gives me 3 big chops. Well, before I can fight out, I got to pull his arm. He tags out. I'm ready to start fighting. Before, he puts his foot directly on my throat. So then I'm held, and he's legitimately holding me by the throat. So I go to try to pull his leg off. The other gentleman who was tagged in puts my arm behind me. He jumps over the ropes, and he has his leg over my arm. So now he has his leg over my arm. This gentleman's holding me by the arm. And then this fat piece of shit who tagged in goes and chops me 3 more times as well. Then at this point I'm pissed. I am pissed off. They've been chopped 6 times now without any kind of payback. So they're holding me in the corner. And keep in mind, this is only the first 3 minutes of the match. I'm held, and I've been chopped 6 times. These gentlemen, as I call them, they were not gentlemen. They took liberties. They were chopping me. Well, then the third one goes to get in. At this point, the referee, who has been counting to 10 at this point, he goes, and I'm going to utilize the referee to make my way out. The referee goes, and this referee in particular, he was not too smart, not too bright. In fact, he was not a very well-liked referee. He did not work well for matches in pro wrestling. He treated them as if they were legitimate contests, so parts of the match where you needed the referee to not be watching, he was watching. So this particular referee goes to the corner. I'm thinking, okay, I can utilize him to get out of the corner. He can utilize his status to start pulling these men off of me. I'm still tied up. One man, leg around my arm. This guy's still squeezing the life out of me. This arm has gone numb. So I'm there, pissed and mad, growling. The referee goes, and he starts counting. And as he pretends to pull the gentleman off of me, he whispers. He goes, hey, go ahead, grab the rope and put the rope around his neck. That way, the fans will go nuts. So I look at him, and he truly believes he is helping enhance the quote-unquote heat that these gentlemen are putting on me. The fans are already screaming anyway. They would not care less if he had chopped my arms off. They were not going to get any louder. So he goes and he grabs the tag rope and he holds it and he tells them, he yells, of course in character, you have to hold onto the tag rope. You have to grab this to tag out, so tag in and out, which is irrelevant. They were all choking me. So then he gives the tag rope to the man who's holding my left arm, which has already got numb, so it's just hanging there. He grabs it, he puts the tag rope around my neck. He starts to pull. So then I'm screaming, or what I can get out of me. He's legitimately choking me with ropes. This arm is starting to go numb as well. I have this floppy arm trying to pull this rope off my neck. He goes and starts to count. 1, 2, 3. I'm pissed. I legitimately grabbed my boot and I kicked the gentleman right below his belly button as hard as I could with the point of my toe. That got him off. The other one that was choking me, I get my thumb and I poke him in the eye. He loosens up. So then I have this guy who's had his leg on my arm. I grab his leg and I straight up throw it. And he falls. He falls off the apron. So then I go, and the fat guy who was on me tries to stay on me. Well, I go to grab him by the hair, and the first thing I want to do is chop him back. He goes and he covers his chest. So from there, I start clubbing him on the neck as hard as I can. Club, club, club. So then he whispers to me, "Hey, you need to tag in the other guys." So I grab him, I drag him to the corner, I put my foot on his face, and I tag out. Before getting out of the ring, I had stepped on his face. So I let my friend, Jeff, who was very brand new, go in. He goes, and this fat piece of shit, as I like to call him, he goes, and he grabs Jeff, and he rakes his eyes. He does not even give Jeff a chance to get any kind of moves or strikes on him. He rakes his eyes. Jeff is selling. Jeff is, giving the impression that he's blinded. Well, the same thing. They all three gang up on him and take advantage of him for a very, very, very long time. So other Jeff is standing on the apron. I'm yelling mad for Jeff to tag me back in. They do not let him out of the corner. They proceed to jump on him. They turn him over. The fat piece of shit jumps off the ropes and squashes his ribs. Jeff is trying to get up. Before he can even stand completely up, they've already hit him with another move. So he's getting piled up. Jeff's brain is scrambled at this point because his only wrestling experience prior to this has been 5 minutes. Well, they beat him for about 15 minutes. Legitimate 15 minutes. So I'm supposed to let this other gentleman in, and we end up letting him come in. Finally, after this long, elongated beating, Jeff takes his beating. I am supposed to make the hot tag, as we call it. So Jeff takes his beating. He's had his ribs squashed. He's had his neck smashed. He's had his face punched. Jeff's been beaten for legitimately about 15 minutes, with no exaggeration. So he makes the tag. Takes me in. I jump in like a house of fire. I go in. I'm clotheslining, guys. Clothesline. 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 I did not care to hit any other moves because the hardest thing I could hit somebody with at the time was a clothesline. So I'm going clotheslining. Clotheslining guys in the face. Hard as I can. I go in. I give my clotheslines. And in my mind, I realize I have to tag Jeff back in. So I realize that for the match to conclude, I must tag Jeff back in. I give him a tag back in. The other two gentlemen, they find their way around him, attack him, pick him up, double pile driver. The match at that point is over. They win 1, 2, 3. The match is concluded, and I have to roll out. They're giving Jeff this double pile driver, so I have to go outside and tend to him. So I'm looking at my good friend Jeff, waiting for my cue, and I'm relying on Jeff to give me my cue to go back in the ring. And so I pat him on the back, and I ask him, "Jeff, are they in the ring yet?" He looks straight ahead, and Jeff is experiencing at that point what every rookie and guy who experiences his first few matches experiences. They experience the blur of the rush, the excitement, the physicality. So Jeff is in the blur, and I ask him, "Jeff, are they in the ring yet?" And Jeff looks straight ahead, and he looks, and he stares, and he says, "Huh?" And so I pat him on the chest. "Jeff, are they in the ring yet?" And I'm being discreet this whole time. And I'm looking in Jeff's eyes, and he doesn't look quite right. And so I'm looking, "Jeff, are they in the ring yet?" He cannot respond. Oh, he's just grunting and making these strange sounds. And if I look over my shoulder to see what is going on in the ring, immediately the fans would see this and start to yell, "Why aren't you going into the ring?" So to allow the opponents to get their attack on, I have to keep my head fixated on Jeff so it can appear that I do not know what's going on. Well, I give it about a minute, and then I say, "Jeff," I grab him by the face, "Jeff, are they in the ring yet?" And Jeff looks at me, and he shakes his head as if he was snapping out of it. And he looks at me and he says, He's already knocked out. Are we supposed to help him? And I look at Jeff, and I throw my hands out and I turn around, and I see the other Jeff laid out. And I notice his nose is bleeding. I also notice he has a giant lump on his head, the size of a softball. It looked like, no lie, it looked like a softball on his head. I slide in the ring. The opponents bailed out of the ring, and they're laughing. They're trying to keep character that they had just attacked Jeff. I look down at Jeff and I ask him, what happened? He looks at me with one eye open and his giant lump on his head, and he says, They used the bell. I look at him, and I look across the ring, and there's a bell on the floor, a ring bell. Well, what I found out later was that they had grabbed Jeff in the ring and they had stood him up, and they had grabbed the belt to attempt to hit him with a championship belt, and waiting for me to break up this attack. The fat piece of shit from earlier was the one holding the belt, and he looked at me and he was waiting for me to come into the ring and stop this violence. So as he ran, he was looking at me while hitting Jeff. Well, as he was looking at me, his accuracy was very poor. So he goes and hits Jeff with the belt in the nose. And it cracked Jeff's nose, so blood was coming out of his nose. And there I am, tending to my good friend Jeff, on the floor, not watching, waiting for him to give me a cue. So as the beating proceeds, they go to try this again. They pick him up, and they hold him again. His nose is bleeding. At this point, the idiot referee, who to this day I don't believe he truly knows how awful he was. He was truly awful. I don't think to this day he realizes how awful he was. He went in with the ring and used the bell and was hitting the bell to showcase to them in the crowd that he was trying to establish order. But what he was really doing was he felt he was enhancing the situation by giving them a prop to use. And so he practically gives them the belt, giving the appearance that they snatched the belt from him when he blatantly gave them the belt. So they grab this ring bell in an attempt to try this again and get my attention. At this point, I'm slapping Jeff in the face, trying to get his attention. The other Jeff is being held in the ring, straight up. And the fat piece of shit has the bell with the corner pointing out. And he runs, full on, and stabs poor Jeff in the head, knocking him out with a big lump on his head, the size of a softball. It's purple. When I'm looking at it, it's purple. It's almost black. So I come to find out that I missed the cues waiting on my friend Jeff to respond and give me a cue to go in. I could not turn around because it would give away to the crowd that I could see them, so why wouldn't I go in and help? All the while, all of that got skipped over, and poor Jeff was knocked out not only once with the belt in the nose, but also a second time he was stabbed in the head with the corner of a ring bell. And the other three idiots, I do not know what happened to them. I don't know, see of them anywhere else in professional wrestling. I don't know if they are still on the indies, but that's a night I'll never forget. So I will drink to that. It was one of those experiences that I will never forget. Que chucha. Stay classy.